Coaches, good afternoon. Welcome to the Coach Gibbs Defense Lab. I'm pleased to be joined by the defensive line coach, defensive ends coach at UNC Charlotte, a good friend of mine we were just talking about over 10 years, Coach Victor Cabral. Coach, thanks for taking the time this afternoon to talk some defense.
PJ, I really appreciate you inviting me to the show, and really excited to talk some defensive line play, and fired up about it, man. Excited to be here at Charlotte. Got here a few weeks ago, still trying to get my wits about me, but it's been really great in this offseason so far and ready for spring football next week.
Awesome. Yeah, we were just talking off camera, Coach. We've been on each other for a long time, and obviously really appreciate the job you do and the success you've had with your guys at the stops that you've been at. So I'm excited to sit back and watch, and I'm going to go ahead and be quiet, Coach, and let you rip.
Okay, awesome. All right. Well, I appreciate the introduction. Kind of with today's talk, we're just going to kind of cover general defensive line play. In my 20-year career so far, I've been very blessed to be able to coach at every different level, from JUCO, 1AA, FCS, FBS, and all the way up to Power 4. Really excited about my opportunity here at Charlotte, where I think things are really on the upward swing. Coach Albin and the staff is phenomenal, and this American League is super difficult and a challenge. So really excited about it. But as we know, hopefully anyone that's watching this right now know where the game starts and ends, especially on the defensive side of the football, and that's with the defensive line. So I'll be covering majority defensive line play. Would like to cover some run stuff, drills, and everyday stuff that I've done in the past, and some pass rush stuff also. So I really appreciate everybody that's tuning into this right now. And without further ado, let's get started. Okay, so thanks. All right. So everything, I'm sure if you've heard any kind of clinics, everyone talks about knockback, right? That's what we have to do. Establish control on the line of scrimmage. I've been around a lot of different offenses, from the triple option under center to air raid, to mixed bag, just pro style. But one thing is consistent, is the play of the defensive line and the offensive line for that matter. And really, it's finding a way to get 8 to 12 inches of movement every single play. And we've got to be able to knock that dude backwards in front of us, right? And so a couple of things really go into this. I'm a firm believer where all of our power comes from is the hips. All right, we're a hip, hands, and foot football team up front. So we're going to do this every single day. I'm going to do this with the defensive ends. Coach Reynolds was the defensive tackles coach. We'll work together on all this, on all the sled stuff. We use the Eagle sled majority of the time, but we also find ways to work on it outside of just the sled work. So you can see in these GIFs right here, starting out with a 6-point hip extension. Okay. We want to make sure our big toes are in the ground. I see a lot of people put their feet flat on the ground. I believe that those big toes have to be in the ground where your power is going to be generated from. Because again, we are going to try to simulate a 3-point stance. All right. But working it from the ground up and really isolating certain aspects of the initial takeoff. Right. So in this, you see the GIF on the lift here. We use the band right here, which we'll throw in every now and again to really roll those elbows inside. So more than just extending those arms, I really want to emphasize, everyone emphasizes thumbs up, I just think is really important, but also more importantly, rolling that elbow in, like really forcing that elbow in to stay tight with our grip and really just forcing good control on that offensive lineman. And at the end of the day, we want to make sure we've got a great straight line, wrist above elbows, above shoulders. We want to make sure we create our own leverage. All right. So I think that's a big part of the game, especially up front, but really any position, man, is hand leverage. And sometimes you got to create that through violence. And you're going to be, some guys are going to be better knee benders than others. Others are going to be able to be a little more flexible in their hips. But one thing that if you're playing at a high level, and it doesn't matter what level of football, you've got to be able to create leverage through violence. And getting on the sled, I think that's really important. You can see the picture on the right. If you're hitting down or even on these sleds, you might as well, that's not what's supposed to be, because very rarely are we just bench pressing guys off. We're always hitting some sort of upward angle. And so you can see in the GIF to the right, head is going down. We've got no power in our core. And he's getting that extension that we like to see, but it's just a U. It's not a direct fight. I always try to talk about almost like a snake, right? And you see that snake coiling up, and right when it's about to freaking launch out, it peels back and boom, it goes a straight line into it. So that's what we're trying to simulate. with that. All right, then we'll take from a 6-point to a 3-point. All right, and so what I don't want to do now is do any kind of foot to balance. So we're already putting their feet to balance. Okay, they're already they're shoulder width, maybe a little bit wider. All right, and I want to come out of my hips and lead with my hands. That's the key point. All right, I want to lead with my hands, and so you can see we're a little bit closer right here. And I just again want to work wrist above elbows, above shoulders. We're seeing through the top of our eyelids, all right, and really reaching for that knockback, right? That full extension. Again, going back to that snake metaphor where you're launching out there and that jaw's coming all the way out and eating that freaking prey that may be bigger than him. All right, a lot of times we're going to be undersized at defensive line, at least most of the places I've been at. And one thing we've got to make sure we are playing with is twitch and precision. That's another thing we're going to talk a lot about at defensive line here is being precise with our hands. You know, I go back to if you're flying on a plane, you don't want your pilot to be accurate where he lands. You know, if you're planning on flying down to Fort Myers, you don't want to land in Tampa. Okay, surely not Tampa. But we want to be precise. So when we're hitting this thing, we want to make sure our hands are exactly the way we want. Like we talked about, wrist above elbows, above shoulders. All right, we're squeezing, we're rolling those elbows inside, and we got that great hip extension. After we create that initial force, your feet will follow. Okay, and then just finding other ways to work it. Like we use the 2-man sled right here, and again, trying to keep those feet in the ground and working a 6-point layout and trying to get that full extension with our hips. I think all those things are really good change ups. You're still working the same fundamentals, but you're just changing the apparatuses. I think that's always good. All right, so one thing that we talk about all the time here is punch, press, peek, and escape. All right, punch, press, peek, escape, PPPE. Okay, you can see putting it all together. The GIF on the right, we're leading with our hands, right? Our hands have to lead the way anytime we strike. I never want to be in a position where I'm in here, similar to an offensive lineman, where they want to keep everything in. We want to make sure our hands are on from the ground, boom, to our target as quick and as fast as possible. All right, I want to take my body to him, but we have to lead with our hands, and we have to see what we strike. So the same thing as I say all the time to these guys is you see what you strike. So we don't want to have our eyes in the backfield. We don't want to have it. We have to be exact of where our eyes are at. If we're defensive end, we're tip to tip, eyes on the outside knee or outside shoulder based off of their stance. All right. We got to make sure when we're running in the pass rush, our tracks are through the outside shoulder tip of the tackle to the outside shoulder tip of the quarterback. Those things are very important. So you have to train your eyes. So that's just as important as all this other physical stuff that we're doing. But you can see in this picture right here to the right. All right. You can see when we stop it. I don't know if we can snoop. Sorry about that. All right. It's not doing that. All right, we have to edit that one out. All right. But you can see on the extension when he finishes the press part of it, his wrists are above his elbows. And that's what exactly we're trying to find. You can see on the left side of it right there where he's almost catching it with his face. You know, back in the day, we used to talk about 3 points of pressure, right? Hands and horns. Those days are over with. We want to make sure we use that length that we do have and being able to create that separation. I think separation is key. And these are things that we always work on. So I would do everything. About 99% of the drills that we do are going to be underneath the chute. I always like having some sort of board underneath our feet for any kind of just forward vertical movements. You'll see some of our line movements that we're going to do a little bit later. So I think that's all really important because you got to keep that base as you go. Again, the feet will follow. I don't put too much emphasis on the 6-inch step and all that kind of stuff. I think your feet will just follow if your hips and your hands are leading the charge on that. So one good picture right there of doing it correctly. You can see also, right, we talk about our foot to balance. When we want to generate that power, we want to attack the ground with our feet, but we can't do it in big strides against the run. So we got to make sure that our feet have a great base underneath themselves, never take any big steps underneath unless it's a pass, obviously, and just doing it the right way all the time. All right, and then again, we'll work here. So create a new line of scrimmage, staying on with our punch, press, peek, and escape. All right, so you can see right here on the left, we're working kind of a punch, press, peek. When we get to that point where we're fully extended out, I always give those guys an idea of putting that chin boom, on your shoulder. All right, I really want to clear that. When those running backs are coming through our gap, all right, all they're looking for is some part of body from the defensive lineman. So I'm really just trying to own my gap, and really I can control that thing with my eyes. So if my eyes are in my gap, my chin is on my shoulder, I'm still staying square. Bam. I don't want to get turned either direction because then I lose my gap that way. All right, I lose all my power as soon as I turn. Okay, I lose all my power that way. So you see in these pictures how we're just putting it all together. Again, another apparatus, working a shrug escape on the left. That's part of a different drill. But I really wanted to emphasize where his chin was at and seeing where that extension was. Again, wrist above elbow is always important. I never want to hit straight. If I'm hitting straight, I might as well be hitting down. All right, and then looking at the board drill here on the right side, again, leading the charge with our hands. All right, foot to balance. We're coming right out of our hips. It's a beautiful thing right there. And then we never do drills like this. These aren't competitive drills. We're working good on good with two defensive linemen. So we want to give enough resistance that they're getting some work. All right, and we're also, but we always want to allow the defensive lineman to win for the sake of the drill. All right, so let's talk about our hand assignments, okay? When we talk about single gap defense, all right, that's down the center of our sternum is the 1. All right, the outside pecs are 2s, and the outside shoulder tips are 3s. Okay, so we're playing single gap defense. Our hands are going to be in a 13 hands position. All right, if we're working a double gap, a 2-gap defense, we're going to be in a 22. So it'll be a 6 technique, a 4 technique, or a 0 technique, right? Any head up technique. We're playing single gap, we'll be in a 13. So we want to make sure we're precise with our hands and the way we're striking this. Okay, so you can see on these down the line drills, right? It's a single gap down the line. We'll get reps on every single one of them. And it's just a foot to balance with a strike, foot to balance with a strike, foot to balance with a strike. Sometimes I'll go 13, 22, 13, but for the sake of 4-2 defense, we will stay with a 13 on the right side, 13 on the left side. I hate going to seeing practices where you got a bunch of guys standing around. All right, when you have a large group of defensive line and you have to use sleds or whatnot, I try to get as many rapid fire drills as I can that's still controlled. All right, film everything, obviously, but we try to make sure everyone is active and we're not just on the whistle, beep, on the whistle, beep. We get 7.5, 10 minutes in the beginning, right, and then during the beginning of season, obviously D-line typically gets a whole bunch of indie time. So just try to incorporate a lot of different motion, a lot of action going on in our practice. We want to make sure individual is the hardest part of our practice. All right, and we don't easy coast through it. I want to get those dudes gassed out and try to get as hard as possible. So we'll get to inside, man, we are dragging our tongues, because that's when I think you really start getting better. All right, so this is a down the line drill that I always like doing. Again, being precise with our feet, precise with our hands, foot to balance with our feet, coming out of our hips and working down the line. And again, you got to work lateral. All right, so it's a couple different coordination things going on at the same time, which I think is great. All right, let's talk about our slanting. So a couple different defenses I've been a part of. In the odd front, well, we were slanting about 95% of the game, which was great. And now here at Charlotte, we're more of a 4-2 defense. We're still running a bunch of slants. It doesn't matter what kind of defense you're running. Typically, you're going to be moving somewhere. I know there are defenses that strict, play tight defense and all that, and we'll do a little bit of that. But for the most part, we've got twitchier, undersized guys that can get after offensive linemen. So being able to teach guys how to slant, I think, is really important. There's a lot of ways to do this, right? I really believe in the concept of a push and a drive, right? I want to push the ground down, right? When I cross that guy's face, or when I'm attacking half a man into the gap inside, I want to make sure I'm pushing the ground. So you can see on the picture on the left that says push drive on it. I'm not necessarily stepping. My emphasis isn't on the step. It's not on a 45-degree step. It's pushing the ground down. So put this in your brains. Like if you're squatting, okay, you're not lifting the bar. You're not trying to lift it. You're pushing the ground down, and that helps you lift that weight up. It's the same thing when you're jumping to get a rebound or doing anything explosive, man. You want to try to keep those feet and accelerate off the ground. All right, so that's the same thing when we talk about our slanting. So we're working just a single gap stick movement. All right, it's a push drive. I like putting these two bags in there for balance of our feet. All right, and make sure we're not overstepping. Again, when we work our slants, we're only working half a man, because as I move, my man-on key changes. If I'm going from a 5 technique in a C gap to the B gap, my man-on key changes. My eyes go inside to my next man in. If the tackle is to cross that vision, I'm off of his butt. If he crosses my face, comes to the outside of the zone reach, then I have to hit ricochet off of that guard coming back. So if I try to step too wide, I'm going to get overtaken by 2 guys. And the thing I like about doing this too, whether I'm slanting in or looping out, I'm still working the same mechanics. So if I'm slanting in, I consider it a push drive, and I'm pushing off that left foot, right? If I'm looping, let's say I'm railing outside, same stances, same distribution of the weight, except I'm going to put a little bit more extra weight on my right foot, where now I am push driving to the outside on the rail. So understanding that's important to do, because we don't want to disguise it. You watch tape and you got to do a self-scout, because you're watching guys and they're either tilted this way, they're turning their body, they're leaning consistently. And those offensive linemen, they study the D-line just as much as we study them. Everyone's trying to get as much information as possible before the snap. So if we don't take care of ourselves and make sure we're harping on this little stuff as much as possible, you know, they're going to get an advantage, and they already have enough as that is. You can see from the side view here, all right, again, working this. A stick reduction is a half man inside, all right? And I think that's really good to keep our base. And one thing I tell my guys all the time too is when our feet are in the ground, I like to base off a sound tempo also. It's up, right? We're working pop, pop. We want to get those feet in and out the ground. It's not a sluggish toe drag, flat foot. It's a bang, bang. We want to make sure we're working that thing fast. So give your guys a cadence that they can put in their brain also for a visual, for an audio kind of tempo in their head. I angle these bags that looks more like this. So we're not trying to go just straight lateral, but we're working downhill. Okay. We're working downhill. Again, I like to stay square in my technique. I don't like turning my shoulders in any of our kind of slant movements. It's a square technique when we're working our slants. I think all that stuff's important for redirection and obviously getting vertical. Because once you turn those shoulders, you're committed to going that direction. The only time you should ever turn your shoulders in any kind of movements, whatever, is when that running back has his shoulders turned. If his shoulders are turned, I can turn. All right, so here's a long stick. All right, it's a 2-gap movement. If it's a nose guard, working 2 gaps from the 0 all to the B gap, we call it a knob, whatever you want to call it. But it's a 2-gap line movement right here. So instead of just a push drive, it's now called a push skip drive. All right, it's a push, skip, drive. And again, I want to keep my shoulder pads square in everything we do. I want to have active hands as I'm coming across. All right, my eyes have to lead the way. So as I'm going, whichever way, if I'm going inside, my eyes are now transferring. Somebody's body's got to get in that gap. Coach Reynolds puts a great way. My body, his body, somebody. All right, I think there's a really good way of thinking about it where, hey, we got to cancel these gaps. That's the point of running these slant reductions. Okay, so I think these are really good look at it. You can see the tempo of their feet. It's a push, skip, drive. We don't want to click heels. When I say skip, it's not like a karaoke or anything like that, but I want to make sure I'm working laterally yet downhill, gaining ground as I go. All right, so again, next step right here is a steer, right? So we want to make sure our hands are in great place. We talked about knockback. We've talked about slant and stepping, okay? And push drives and push skip drive. Now, let's say we are engaged when we are engaged with the offensive lineman. And the thing I like about all these two is these are all drills that everyone can do. It doesn't matter if you're playing all the way from a 9 technique to a 0. These are all basic D-line fundamentals, which I think is critical. Okay, so we can see right here, working this just a steer. These are all early seasonal kind of things where we're working just the agility bag. And when I steer, I sometimes see guys doing like a choo-choo train, like this, like Frank the Tank, all alone on a weekend. I don't want to do that. I want to work a steer here, okay? I want to work it like almost I'm steering a vehicle, right? Steering a damn steering wheel. I still want to pull it back a little bit, but the angle of that shoulder, I want to get that thing turned. Again, we talked about chin on my shoulder, right? Eyes out, eyes in my gap. That's what it's all about. Once I've defeated that offensive lineman, now I'm able to see what happens. I've owned my gap. Now I'm pressing that son of a gun back and forcing that running back either in my gap where I'm going to escape and make the tackle, or force him to another one where I can shrug off and make the play as a fall-in guy. But if you're not steering properly and your hands aren't in the right place, then it's going to be very difficult. So I like this drill with the agility bags, just kind of early on start. The key emphasis on this is to make sure your same arm and same leg are working together. You don't want to have one back and one up, right? So if it's my right arm, I'm steering on my right hand and my right foot are working together, trying to stay as square as possible. Then I'm back at it. Boom, left, okay? Boom, right, okay? And then again, it's here. It's a slight pull back, but I'm steering that wheel. Bam, right? Boom. I just want to get that shoulder turned and inside enough where I can get that leverage outside as a defensive lineman. Okay. And then right here, you can work this. I called this a steer drill. We played a lot of head up fours, but you can also treat this like it's a fist, right? So you're a B gap defender playing a 5 technique and being able to play a fist, right? So allowing him to reach you, boom, and fisting through that B gap. But it's really important. Make sure that hand placement is essential, right? Be precise. All right, and again, so working again the steered escape. So now we're working a shrug escape. Like I mentioned earlier, anytime you're a shrug escape guy, meaning you've engaged, you've owned your B gap, C gap, whatever, that running back decided to cut back, jump cut inside. I am not the primary tackler. It's not my gap. I am considered a fall-in tackler. So I can't be in a rush. The ball carrier has to get to the point of no return. Once he gets to the point of no return, boom, then I can shrug off and become a fall-in tackler. I want to make sure I'm emphasizing this. And one thing that I didn't talk about when we're working the sled, I always check the grip of their hands, because sometimes they'll just place their hands on those sleds and barely squeeze them. I want those guys freaking grabbing it, and you can see the whites of their knuckles showing out. Unless they got gloves on. But you know what I'm saying? Like, we want to make sure we've got really, really strong hands. So again, with the shrug escape right here, I want to make sure I'm fighting with my offensive lineman, boom, and I'm outside. Once I've opened my gap, bam. And again, the cue is the point of no return by the running back. So see what you strike. You defeat the offensive lineman first. Boom. My eye progression now goes to the running back. All right. Running back's coming through my gap. He's committed to it. I'm committed to it. I'm off it. I'm just working a simple pull or a tug escape. Boom, and making the play. Boom, I'm in my gap. He wants to jump cut out, fall in tackler off the shrug. All right, so I know I'm kind of buzzing through some stuff. Now I'll leave you guys my number and email and all that stuff afterward. You guys are more than happy to call and talk or whatever. I would love to hear from anybody that's paying attention. That'd be great. So this is something we do all the day. This is another one of everyday drills. Called hands on the run. It's a lateral movement, just really creating some hand violence, working transition rush versus the run to from run to pass. All right, always establishing some sort of hand leverage, right? So we'll work in a couple different ways, right? And we'll do it from a stationary standpoint. When we first start out, we'll work a double down, a double up, swipe, and a swipe. Okay, so we'll work it down. And as we get better with this, you can see in these pictures right here, and this actually, number 5 is an outside linebacker, he's a nickel. We brought those guys in with the defensive end. And so again, we're working with a partner. It takes some practice to get the rhythm and the routine of it. But the point is when we're striking our hands, the defense lineman is clubbing it down, right? And then replacing it. So again, working on transition rush from run to pass, and also just working constant hand balance. I think working hands is always one of the most foundational things that we do as defensive linemen. So we'll work it double down and then work a double up. So as he's striking, I'm attacking both inside parts of the forearm, bam, and then back in. I don't want to grab. I'm not working the grab drills and all those kind of things yet. I'm just working active hands, and then I apply it where we're working a lateral movement, where I'm trying to stay on my side of the line. So I'm always going to do this on a line. We don't want to ever get in anyone else's yard, because, again, separation is key, right? So if you see your guy starting to ease on over to the other side, that means he's too forward leaning. We want to stay lateral and work it. And then we can also work it back and forward, right? So then I'll work it where the guys are going forward, and it's just the defensive, the guy backpedaling, just walking backwards, he's punching, right? You've seen this probably before with a coach doing like a walk and hit drill, right? But again, just being able to do hand motion while walking at the same time at a good pace, okay? So again, multiple actions going on at one time. All right, here's your swipe. So we'll work it now half a man, and we'll work just the swipe here, swipe, replace, swipe, replace, swipe, replace. And again, we incorporate some scissors if we wanted to. We will work a long arm where it's a stab, grab, stab, but it's just multiple reps a lot of time. And then, after this guy's going, the next group is going. So I give a cadence. I go, ready, go. First group goes, and then I say, ready, go again. The second group goes, and the group that was going torques and gets out of there. So here's some more transition from run to pass, okay? So you can see right here, we call this a steer trap, again, where we're steering and we're clubbing over the top. We got a lift pull, all right? We're working a lift pull, and then a jailbreak is we're switching both of them up at the same time. So we're going steer trap, bam, to a lift pull. So we're working, again, just different hand angles of where that offensive lineman hands are at. If their hands are high, we want to lift them high. Right. So if we're steering and that offense lineman has his hand on my shoulder, I'm grabbing it. You'll hear me call it a forklift that transitions back into a power rush, which we'll get into here a little bit. All this is stuff that translates into the game. All right. And then you see the lift pull, which we talked about here. Okay. And the jailbreak is just a combination of both. Here's some D tackle stuff. Interior D-line drill. So I really love this drill with the chute. I got the PVC pipe going in there, working in small spaces. That's what's the key for our defensive lineman, is being able to do a lot with a little bit of space. The offensive linemen change their splits up all the time, so we got to be able to work with some gaps, and some offenses have very little gaps. So this is a really good drill. Again, we're working our step drive, assume our push drive right here, and I put an agile bag underneath that PVC pipe to really cut down that step. And the emphasis is on that second step, that vertical drive step that we were talking about earlier. Like you push down, bam, it's going outside, but that second vertical step, so we're not walking a tight wire. We want to make sure that we have a great base in front of us, and condensing the space that those big boys have to work at, that helps. And again, working in nose reduction, so we're slanting from a 0 to a 2I, still striking the nose guard, or still striking the center. We're going to work half a man right here. Bam, leaning with a charge. Again, our hand placement's at 13 since we're playing single gap defense on the run. Bam, nice flat back. Again, wrist above elbows, above shoulders. Leading with our hands. That's a really two good-looking reps right there. All right, again, some key drill work. I just cut out a couple of these. I think it's important to know, right? We're always trying to attack the crease as an offensive running game with the inside zone. All right, so understanding what your keys are on your defensive ends for your offensive linemen, right? So make sure you're precise with that, and understand, and everyone's teaching them, even younger and younger and younger. It's great. Have them recognize formation sets, and whether it's stacked or level or married or divorced, whatever you guys want to call it, jack, queen, king, whatever you want to call it. Make sure you know when it's a split set between the tight end and the back, a pistol, all right, or the same side. Like, understand that, get that in the brains of your defensive linemen, have that communicated every single play. Have them give them a heads up on it, because that, again, helps you pre-snap. If your running back is on the same side as where I'm at and I'm slanting that way, understand that that tackle is probably going to veer inside. So now I can be off of his rear end. If the back's away and I'm slanting it, I don't need to take a huge step. Sometimes you don't even have to take a 0 step. So understand the pre-snap recognition of recognizable things as a defensive lineman is critical, and that's on us as coaches to make sure we're teaching that. All right, here's some basic pass rush stuff. I know it's gone 33 minutes. We're going to probably about 20 more minutes, but here's some pass rush work. Okay. So this is the one of the things.
Great, Coach.
Okay, thanks, brother. I thought I was going to be able to freeze the GIF, but I wasn't. That's pretty impressive. Isn't that GIF a good idea?
I think it's great.
Have you seen many people use that or no?
Not yet.
Bingo.
Innovator, baby. Innovator.
I stole that, but it's all good. All right, so we'll get into some pass rush stuff here. I got about 20 more minutes, if that's okay, Coach.
Yeah, all good.
Okay. All right, so starting off with the pass rush. All right, I'm very basic when it comes to our pass rush. If you really look at, successful pass rushers, I mean, look, you got to be able to hit pop-ups. You got to be able to freaking bend. You got to be able to turn your toes. You got to have a great get off. There's certain things you can work on and get better at, and there's certain things that guys are just better at than others. Like, that's just the way it is, okay? But that doesn't mean that you can't pass rush, okay? Because I honestly believe that in order to be a good pass rusher, you got to be a great bull rusher. You got to be a great power rusher first in order to make everything else work. Like, if you can't bull rush, you can't pass rush. You got to be able to establish some sort of freaking physicality in the pass rush game. And you look at, it don't matter. You can look at any level, from high school all up to the NFL. Most sacks will come from power rushes. They won't come from all the finesse and the speed. Those are great change-ups, and they are important to have. And the ones that do it great get paid a lot of money. But the ones that are unbelievable power rushers, they get paid a ton of money too. But that's the way you maximize your ability to rush the passer. Have a small menu, all right? And we'll get into it as we go further here. But I think it's critical. A couple things are going to be really important. And I always talk about this with everybody because I think, doing things that you see on Instagram and all that, I think all that stuff's great, man. As long as you're outside getting active and you're getting better at it, like who's anybody to say, well, that don't work? Well, that may work for him. So as long as you're getting out there and working on it, I think that's important. And you can't get better as a coach unless you try crazy stuff. And you just work it and you figure out what your own voice is and what you're comfortable in teaching. Because if you're not comfortable in teaching something and you're not very confident in it, the players are going to see it and they're not going to believe in it. And sometimes take what they ask you and take what they're saying and be like, hey, you know what? That may work better for him. And that's how you change it up. But I think pass rushing is essential. I love it. And obviously it's a great part of the game. But really what it comes down to, okay, I think to be a really great pass rusher, you got to have a small menu. All right. And with that menu, okay, a power side and a speed side. Okay. But with those moves, all right, so let's just talk about like the power side, bull, long arm. All right. A bull and a long arm. Let's just end it right there. Let's just talk those two. Okay. You got to have a counter off of that. So your bull counter is your forklift. Okay. And your long arm counter is either your stab grab, where you're grabbing that arm, or your stab club, stab slap. You're slapping that hand. All right. That's all we got to have for a power move. Let's talk about our speed moves. All right. Our speed, our finesse moves. All right. My favorite, chopper place. Working edge, bam, bam. It's a chopper place out the outside edge of that tackle. All right. You're going to attack his outside arm with your inside arm. All right. And then we got to work off the counters off that. Let's talk about that. And then a cross chop, right? Everyone loves the cross chop. All right. And then let's counter off that. So we go from a chopper place to a hump, a chopper place to a bull. All right. We can work a swipe to a long arm, but we got to have one counter, one speed counter off of your power counter or off your power move and a power move off your speed. Like, that's just the way it has to work. Now, how do we vary it? Well, first off, you change up your alignments. And I don't care if you're a nose guard or a defensive end outside backer. Like, you've got to change your alignment. You've got to be able to show them a speed rush, which is horizontal perpendicular to the line. And I'm looking like a sprinter. Or a tilt rush where I'm slightly tilted inside. That's showing power. That changes the mindset of that offensive lineman. Okay. That changes the path that he's going to be. Is he going to be a vertical setter, or is he going to be a 45-degree setter now? Right. And then the third part of it. Okay. It's changing the speed, changing the tempo. So you got to give them a speed rush, or you got to give them a stutter. Okay. So that's it. So now you find your tools, you build your pass rush menu off that. Let's say I'm a great chopper place guy. All right. Well, I'm going to show this offensive tackle a speed rush. I'm horizontal. I'm straight up on the line. Shoulders are not turned. They're square. And I'm going to attack it from a wide alignment, right? And then I'm working my chopper place. Then I'm going to come back in a tilt, and I'll be a tip to tip. I'll be just an edge alignment. And now I'm showing power, and I work a speed chopper place. So at the end of the day, you really want to show speed, work power. Show power, work speed. Show speed, work speed. Show power, work power. And that's how you create your pass rush plan as you go forward, move it into it. Hope I explained that okay. If not, I'll explain it again to you again. So again, 3 main points. All right, your alignments. You're going to be a head-up alignment. All right, you're going to be an edge alignment, which is your tip-to-tip, or your wide alignment. And you don't need to be any wider than, like I give those guys half a yard to a yard for their edge alignment, and then I go 1.5 to 2.5 for wide alignment. All right, so you got wide, edge. Okay, we're good. All right, and then your tempo, or your stance. You're going to be the jet stance, right? Squared on the line of scrimmage, speed stance, or tilt. And then you're going to work your move with a stutter or just a straight speed rush. We'll get into it. We'll have some tape and watch that stuff. So right here's a pass rush tree that I work on. It just kind of gives the guys the guys a heads up on when to execute, like what your alignment is going to give those offensive linemen to you. The interior offensive linemen work a little bit different, obviously. Okay, they work a little bit different. But understand what this is. I think it's really good, right? So the wider you get, the more of a I don't know how much zoomed in you can get in there for it, but that's okay. Like, is he going to be vertical and keep his shoulder pad square? Well, he probably will if you're going to be showing that speed rush alignment, right? If you're showing more of a tilt, more of a power, he's going to be a little bit more horizontal. It's going to be a little bit more of a 45-degree angle just so we can take that. All right. And obviously understanding the slide side and the man side in your protection, right? Find who that is. Is it the side of the running back? Typically it is. All right. Is it the side of the tight end, opposite of the tight end, and attack that and have a pass rush plan in mind that you can work according to what you see, and find ways to manipulate the protection as a football coach. All right. So just kind of hit on this real quick and understand pass rush protection, get into the man versus slide stuff. All right. So when we're working this, okay, the first number we use is how many people are in the protection. The second number is how the center and the running back work. It's a very simple thing. So if it's a 6-man protection, that's 60, and the center and the running back are working opposite, right? So the side opposite, the center guard tackle opposite of the back, that means you're the slide side. Side of the back, guard tackle, that's the man side. So that's 60 protection. 61, the center and the running back are working weak. 62, the running back and the center are working strong. So they're trying to either keep it 3-by-3 or 4-by-2 on which other way. Okay. 5-man protection, backs out. Right. So again, this is something I've used for a long time. I always think it's pretty good. Works for us. You can see right here kind of the way we attack things. So any kind of 50 series 5-man protection, obviously send more than they can blitz. You got to have some good ass DB dudes. 2, 3, or 4-man twist. I like all those very defensive presentations. Like your 5-man series, present bear. Find ways to attack them in bear. Get them in overloads. If you show overload, right, a loaded right or loaded left side, put your best rusher opposite the load side because they're going to slide that way. So now you'll have a one-on-one, and that's where you want your best guy at. Okay. 60 series, attack the running back with twist or blitzes. I like attacking the running backs. All right, change that up. Sometimes you have to attack the slide side, and that's okay, but attack it. Okay, empty. That's a game plan deal. Drop 8, twist, gap, and slide stuff. Right. So if it's a gap pressure, inside twist are really good. And gap, what I talk about is basically your slide lock, where your tackle locks on the defensive end and your running back slides up inside the B gap. All right, your slide is a true slide where your offensive lineman slides one way and the running back works the edge. Okay, that's where I like attacking with edge pressures, 2 off the edge or double edge pressure. And these are just some pictures right here. So 60, you can see right here, top right corner, the second box, right? 61, they're both working weak. 63, I call it 63 or 62. That varies based off how you want to do it. All right, going back to our pass rush stuff. All right, so we've got, again, our power moves that we teach, our bull rush, forklift. That's the counter off it, your long arm, and then you go stab, slap, stab, grab, and then your DC chop is basically a chop hump for those interior guys. All right, and then our speed rush, a chop replace, a dip and rip. All right, and then we got our swipe, which is 2 hands. And the way I attack the swipe, okay, the way I attack the swipe right here is my inside hand will attack his inside hand, and my outside hand will attack his. Because I like matching hands. You'll see some guys working at any position on the defensive line. If we're matching those hands, remember, if they don't touch you, they can't block you. So we want to do a great job of attacking those guys. And again, we just work these moves, and that's all we move. And some guys will only work bull and long arm. That's like their power guys. That's it. That's it. And we'll do some stuff every day. It's called Edge Academy or Pass Rush Academy. There's 3-man games. Everyone does this. I can send you guys this if you want. Okay. Now, a couple things going into this. I think this is really important for point of emphasis for coaches also. Understanding quadrants, right? Understanding quarterback contain rules, right? So it's a 3-man rush. We're forming a triangle. All right, we're forming a triangle. The way I talk about attacking, keeping quarterbacks in the pocket, all right, are ears, noses, eyes, right? So outside edges are ear guys, interior D linemen, all right, or anybody blitzing through the B gaps, they're eye responsible, and the nose is obviously down the middle. So if you have a 3-man rush, you have it form a triangle, okay? The nose and 2 ears have to be occupied. One thing I'm a big believer in is natural twist games. I like calling twist games, but I also allow defensive linemen to run naturals. I think it's really good because it emphasizes vertical, getting upfield, and then having an understanding of quadrants and how they have to have each other's back that way. I think that's a really good thing for us to be able to do. But understanding who's responsible for what is important. All right, and you can get there with 3. Great, do it. Drop 8. If not, send more. That's what you got to do. All right, 4-man rules. All right, so you got this, right? So everyone knows what they're responsible for, regardless if it's a twist game, regardless if it's a blitz, regardless if it's just a straight 4-man rush. Like, understand where the quarterback is and keep his butt inside and in front. And so I talk again about it, ears, eyes, and noses. Everyone has to cover each other's back. And I did talk about this early on in like our pass rush menu. When you get to the top of the quarterback, I've broken it down to 3 things: push them by, spin them by, and power through. That's it. Like, don't run the hump. Now, there are certain blitzes where you want to flush quarterbacks, right? You want to have a race to that quarterback. So you're going to send one guy high and you're going to send one guy low and you're going to run some sort of deal in the middle. Like, those are fantastic. I love those. But at the end of the day, if you're to run a single 4-man rush, the last thing you want to do is give that quarterback an exit point for him to get out. And the 3rd and 6 becomes a quarterback scramble for 8. It's a terrible feeling. And everyone has to be on the same page, not just the D lineman. So here's some 5-man contain rules. Again, same idea, just talking about this and working through it. As the quarterback moves, we move. Understand the quarterback and who you're rushing. Your plan as a coach has to change and has to emphasize this with the kids, right? If you're playing an athletic, moving quarterback, a true dual threat running guy, a Lamar Jackson, for instance, like, you're going to be running a lot of bull rush to keep this guy inside and in front. You can't create seams for this guy to be able to run through. If you got more of a pro style quarterback, a guy that doesn't move very good, that's when you can get him going and be a little more creative with your twist games and all that stuff. And then if you got a guy that can do a little bit of everything, and you got to change it up with deception, right? So understand what kind of quarterback you're facing. So if show 4, rush 3, show 5, rush 4, show 5, rush 5. You got to play that cat and mouse game with those guys that can do a little bit of everything. They can run and throw at a very high level. Let's see how smart they are and how fast they can do it, how fast they can recognize between different presentations that we give him. But simple is better. You can make things look very confusing for them on that side, but keep it very simple on this side, as long as you're giving them simple rules for it. All right, and then again, working this stuff here, balancing the blitz. There's another key term we like to say all the time. So anytime there's an odd man blitz, a 5-man pressure, the defensive end that's running through down towards the center has to 2-gap that center. You can't just pick a gap because, again, now you have 3 on one side, 2 on the other, and you've got an open A gap. You've got an open entry point for that quarterback to escape. So that long sticking DN has to do a good job of recognizing where that center is going. If he's sliding to me, I'm going to press his butt and 2-gap him either direction. If it's a hard slide, I'm off of his butt and I'm getting back to the nose of the quarterback. But anytime it's an odd man rush, a 3-man, 5-man, or a 7-man pressure, whoever's attacking through the quarterback, or excuse me, through the center, has got to be able to be a guy that can balance the blitz, balance the rush, okay? Got to stay square and bull rush the center while peeking over the shoulder of the quarterback. That's another thing about the bull rush, man. You see a lot of guys, they think bull rush is like, blah, blah, blah. Once you attack that, you got that separation, your eyes have to go to that quarterback. Like, you just can't bull rush and say, well, I've pushed them back. You got to be able to push their butts back and see where the quarterback's going. That's what the main target is. Like, I like to give D tackles the rule of, like, once you're on one side, stay on that side. Like, you could 2-gap as a 3 guy, Three technique, you work B gap, A area, all that. But once you're in the rush, stay in that rush until you're ready to make that play on the quarterback. All right, so here's some get-off things, right? So tennis ball takeoffs. We'll do a roll drill. Again, coaching vision, right? Recognition, seeing when that ball gets out. That's when they're going. Have them compete. Make sure it's fun. Give them an up-down if they lose. We'll do the bounce drill. We'll go a 3-yard and a 5-yard. All right, again, these are outside linebackers, inside backers. We do them with everybody. And again, the stutter series. So we talked about having a different tempo as you rush. So having a stutter bull, a stutter swipe, stutter chop, all those things changes. Tempo changes are critical to the for the pass rush game. Anytime you show that stutter, an offensive lineman has to freaking freeze and widen that base or sit and get forward, and that's when you can start playing with. That's when you can start manipulating them. So work a stutter series, right? And it's like when you see some guys working, you got to be active in the upper body. A lot of guys will just work like a stutter with their feet. But you gotta bob each direction, right? It's like a boxer, you know what I mean? It's like a basketball guy. That's what those offensive linemen are looking. They're looking at from the chest up. So make sure it just takes a simple 1-2. The way I tell my guys to do it is a burst, stutter, burst. Some guys will pop up out of their stance and immediately cha-cha-cha on the line of scrimmage. You got to advance, not dance. You got to get upfield first, and then you get going. So it's a burst, stutter, burst. And again, attaching different rush moves to the tempo. So you've got different alignments, different stances, straight or tilt, and then you've got a different speed, all with the same simple moves. So this is something that we'll do about every day, all right? It's a pass rush academy, okay? So we'll work a torque, a club, a double club, and a counter move. We'll sometimes work a chopper play, sometimes we'll work something different every day. And the reason why I started doing this is because in pop-ups, like you're getting the same moves, but it's just one guy going at a time. And then you got to reset the pop-ups and all that. So I took the pop-ups out and I just give them this. You've seen guys do like a kamikaze drill and all this, but we'll do this every day. Where I think it's important to teach torque. Like I used to be a guy that flipped hips, which I think hips flip naturally. I think you got to get guys being able to turn their shoulders, torque their upper body, both in and out. So if offensive lineman's coming in and I'm turning that thing out, that's just a simple dip where I'm sitting back down, boom, and I'm coming back out of that thing. Sometimes I want to work a torque right to them where now I'm throwing that club, okay? So working these are very important. So we work a torque, they work a club. You can work this with a hand pad, like a little boxing mitt, or you can work it with the whole crayon. So work a single club and then work a double club. You see how their upper body is going. That's where all your power is generated from. Their hips are naturally going to turn, but I've gotten away from like the true traditional hip flip. My opinion, just take yourself away from that quarterback a little bit more and you lose power. Take yourself out of that track. All right, and then we got a run, reach, just kind of putting the pass rushing things together, like segmented, okay? So, again, when we're attacking the ball, I don't want to work a tomahawk chop. I want to work reach, run, reach. And those balls are going to be at different positions, okay? So I'll do different drills where I hold the football, and they're coming at both sides of me like this, and I'm holding it in my hand here, down here, two hands, one hand like I'm running. So give them targets to run, and that's the drill that we'll do every day with the entire defense. Well, not every day, but anytime we do some circuits, we'll do that most of the time because you got to train those eyes. A lot of times those guys will get back there, especially ones that haven't gotten a lot of sacks in their life, and they're just happy to be there, and they jump on that quarterback and they sack it, which is phenomenal. But what's even more badass is a goddamn sack strip. So we got to train the eyes to see it. They got to have enough composure to make that happen. Don't happen by accident. You got to train it. And then obviously some tackles, right? We're going to work some angle tackles. We'll come out of the shooting down our belly position, pop up, come on out. We want to be violent with our arms. We want to strike same shoulder, same foot, all right, and drive for 5. Like I'm a big believer in Coach Carroll's old tackling methods, all right? But the thing is, like I remember back when this is a long time ago, man, this George Military College days, man, we'd get in a damn circle and we would do, just the butt ups and all that. And then we did an angle tackle drill one day for practice. Man, I had a 295 and a 300-pound kid. Boom, the earth shook. Well, one guy hurt his shoulder. I was like, well, I'm not doing this shit no more. Like, we're not going to be fighting anymore. We're not going to be tackling 300-pound running backs. So I just try to emphasize low impact and realistic tackling for us, right? So that's what I try to do. But I want to stress the importance of tackling. I will do a tackling drill of some sort about every day. I think that's really important. And so this is a great goal line tackle deal. We put them on their back. We give one guy, again, it's a yard or 2 yards max of separation. And they're not trying to kill each other. But again, you're going to dip and rise through. You're going to accelerate through contact. You're going to have a ball carrier. You're going to be violent with your arms. I think these sorts of tackles are really, really important. All right. And then that's really it right there for the slideshow. Again, win the line, win the game. And sometimes we talk about right there, showtime. So I know I kind of buzzed through that, the pass rush stuff. I've got some other stuff if we want to talk more about it. I've got a little bit more time. I got some other live drills if you want. If you want me to spend about 10 more minutes, I can do that. But I just want to kind of buzz through things that we did on a regular basis, a lot of places that I've been.
Yeah, I mean, Coach, I'm all about it. So if you want to get through it, I'm sitting here taking notes, learning myself. So I'm all about it. If you got 10 more minutes, I think the coaches when they watch this are going to love it.
Okay. All right. So again, this will be, and again, I apologize. It's kind of all over the place, brother. Like
Coach,
it took me a week and a half to get my Vizio in line because we didn't have. We had to fix a lot of different crap, but we're getting it. When you get fired from a place, they don't give a shit about your video. I'll be honest. All right, let me see this here. All right. All right, let's do this here. All right, let's do some pass rush stuff here. I'm gonna
you gotta unshare and reshare.
Let me see if it shows up. Oh, hell. Hold on.
Yeah,
all right,
good.
we're good. Sorry. Yeah. All right, let's see this here. Where the hell are we?
Yep. Sharon. Yep. Perfect. Take off.
All right, hope it's not. I don't know if there's anything I got to do on my end to make sure it's not too glitchy, but see. Is it all glitchy?
If you play a clip through. I mean, it's fine.
All right, it's a little glitchy, so we won't.
Yeah.
All right, so. All right, so again, just emphasizing here, so you can see how I've changed up a little bit. I got the tennis ball stuff. I put a hurdle underneath their feet. This is more pass rush emphasis right here. So one thing I want to make sure I talk about too is shin angles. I think shin angles are really important to understand. Like I did when I was working my master's, I did actual study on like 2-point, 3-point, 4-point stances and how their get off is. And really what it comes down to is shin angle, right? So it don't matter if you're in a 2-point down to a 4-point. You got to make sure those shin angles, you'll see a better angle. You'll see a better angle of it from the side. But man, when you're working in condition in the off season, when you're working in speed school, whatever, like emphasize this. And you want to really make sure, like in your front leg, like this knee loads up before the snap. Like some guys have a natural knee bend where they're on side and they can hold that position for a long time, but most guys don't. So you want to make sure that you sink slightly before you freaking burst out of there because you want to get that shin angle. You can see how he extends that thing out, and that's what creates great pad level, and that's what creates a really good angle out off the line of scrimmage right here. So again, I put those hurdles out there for, again, more emphasis on it. And again, I'll work this. This is a speed angle right here, right? So we're working just our shoulder pads are horizontal. They're parallel to the line of scrimmage. They're parallel to the line of scrimmage. We are working vertical off the tackle. With the ball get off, again, I emphasize a couple different points of vision, right? So I'm going to do a ball get off. All right. I'll flip the ball around and use the tip of the stick just to even have a smaller point of reference. And then obviously I'll be the offensive lineman where I'll kick slide. I'll change that apparatus as much as possible just so those guys get comfortable in training their eyes. I don't do the same things over and over and over again. All right. Bam. So there's our get off right here. Again, up and over. You can see a really good job with Tyron right here. Just watch him sink it right before he takes off. Boom. So that's, let me see if I can freeze it. Hell, I missed it. Okay, right there. So you see that really nice shin angle. It's a really good shin angle. This is what we're aiming for right here. We're aiming for this shin angle right here at that point, because how that angle is, that's the way your body's going to be. If you're up like this, your ass is going to be up like that. Okay, so you have got to figure that out and work on that. So here we go. We're just going to work a nice chopper place with the takeoff, bam, bam, with a U-turn, run, run, reach. So you see how these guys load. They sink their knee before the get off. Boom, and they hit it. And like guys, do it natural, but emphasize it. Like watch it and coach that up. Make it a point of emphasis for those guys. All right, so again, here we go. Again, working, this is more of a pass rush academy, right? The edge academy. And I'll do this with D tackles, D ends. This is when I was working with outside backers in West Virginia. All right, again, working chopper place. Now I'm using myself as the indicator of the takeoff. And again, working a chopper place, run, run, reach on the quarterback. Just emphasizing those things. Very basic. Chopper place, same arm, same leg, attack it. Turn that toe. Turn that toe. And again, now we're working wide alignment. Some guys, I'll be like, all right, let's go tilt. Let's go wide tilt. All right, let's go edge vertical. Let's go edge speed. Let's go edge tilt. Like you got to mix and match those as a coach. Just give it to them. Tell them what to work on. And there's another thing, too, I failed to mention earlier. Like when you're working in spring ball especially or fall camp, like control what they work. All right. So like, hey, today, fellas, we're going to work nothing but bull rush today. And that's in 2-minute situation. That's in one-on-ones. That's in third down situation. Whatever pass happy deal that practice is going on, that's where you want to work it. And then like you say this in the meetings before the day, hey, today we're going to work on bull rush. And I want to make sure you see, if you want to tell them, hey, I want to work edge and wide alignment bull rush, and you can work a starter, but that's the rut where we're working the bull rush. Or hey, I want to work long arm today, and that's all I want to work all day, because now you're banking reps, and it's not just in perfect scenario like in Indy. You have to work it. So you may want to do a damn long arm, and it may be slide to you. Well, I got to throw that thing a little bit long. I got to throw that thing a little bit quicker. Then you'll see it against a vertical set. So that's the best way to learn, is doing the same thing, even through failure. Because in Indy, we'll set it up as coaches as teaching and getting better and getting confident in it. But when you got to go out there, they got to throw that stuff out on their own. So give them a pass rush move of the day and make sure they work on it during pass rushing segments. It doesn't matter who cares if they win one-on-ones. That's not the point. The point is to get better and win on Fridays or Saturdays or Sundays, whenever the hell you want to play. All right, so again, coming back to it, we'll work this here. Bam. So again, we're working now of an edge alignment where we're tip to tip on the offensive tackle, and we're working torque right here. So you see their upper body. They're just turning their upper body, just turning it. There's no club, there's no nothing. I just want to get those guys understanding, seeing the hands of the offensive lineman, and turn it. And then we'll work that side, and then we'll work the other side. We'll torque opposite of the hand. All right, so you can see a couple different alignments right here. Let me see here. Okay, so we see right here, So now we've got, okay, so we see now we got a wide alignment and he's tilt. So he's showing power, right? He's showing power from a speed alignment, which is good. And now he's a speed alignment with an edge angle right there. So he's about a yard outside the tackle, but he's showing speed. He is showing this. So this tackle is probably going to have the vertical set this way. Okay. He's showing more of a power, so he can be a little bit slower out. This is probably the man side over here. This is probably the slide side based off of the running back, correct? So now we'll watch this. So now it forces this tackle to the left. He worked a hard horizontal. It was a slide side. And you can see number 11, bam, working that inside torque. Boom, bam. And then what happens? This is your natural coming into it. So you can see the defensive tackle, the 3 technique, seeing the outside, the defensive end cross his face. And instead of hitting back in his B gap, there's your natural. So he works it all the way back outside, and they're just keeping each other's back. So this is just a basic 4-man rush. This is not a twist. There's no nothing. This is a 4-man rush. All right, you can see number 8 on the right side right here as we're looking at it. He's got a tilt, so the tackle's a little bit more of a horizontal out. He's trying to brace himself for power, and he shows him a little bit of a swipe. It's a little choppy, hard to see. And again, working your pass rush moves. Working the things that we practice. All right, so this is going to be on number 11, the left defensive end right here. So this is when he's working a long stick. We got a blitz going on right here. I know it's hard to see, fellas. But he turns, he torques his upper body, right? He turns his upper body to the left as we see it. Bam, right there. And he clears that body out. He doesn't flip his hips. He's turning his upper body. All right. So we're watching number 11 again right here. He was a really, really good pass rusher. Great player overall. Again, he's now head-up alignment. We would play some base 0-4s. He's going straight vertical. He's not showing any power. He's going straight vertical. This offensive tackle may think, again, we're showing 5 right here. We're showing 5, so he may be thinking it's a rush 5. It's, maybe think some crazy blitz. Who knows what he's thinking? And all he does is work a straight vertical speed rush out of the head-up alignment. Works a chopper place. Again, showing deception. So showing 5, rushing 3. Like, it's not always about, if you got a better player than the other guy, man, that's awesome. Like, hell yeah. But as a coordinator, as a coach, you got to show a couple different moves. You got to show different formations. You got to show different fronts. Give them the disguise. This is off of a screen, so it really don't matter. But just I want to show you the actual move of his alignment, where he's a head-up alignment, and he's working a speed rush with a chopper place. All right, you can see right here. Wide speed, so it has wide. Number 8 showing straight speed rush, right? He's showing straight speed rush, no tilt. He's wide. He's showing this. So it's going to force this quarterback, this offensive tackle, to slide out this way or slide out hard at a 40 at an angle. Right there, very good, not bad. So then he's working the speed to power. Bam. Great job. Again, we just have to speed the quarterback up. I want a million sacks for my guys, obviously. But we just got to affect the quarterback, making sure he doesn't throw the ball on target every freaking snap. That Big 12, we were in it, man. We had some really good quarterbacks that we played against. All right. Every league's got them. They're going to make their throws. That's what they do. All right, so you can see right here on the left side, now we're showing an edge tilt right here. And again, working a nice speed track. This is great. Boom, boom, with a chopper placed by number 8. Bam, bam. Good. So again, chopper place, back in action. That's my favorite move. He had a really good knack of doing it. I think a lot of guys, it's a simple move. All right, so now we've worked some speed. We've shown speed. Now he's going to come back with a stutter. So I think he's still straight. Give maybe a little bit of a tilt right here. right here. Now we're working this burst, stutter, burst. So you can see that little jab step in there. Bam, bam. Didn't quite get there, but we got the move down. Holstein wanted a little bit more of that play. But it was really a good job executing the rush move, right? So we showed speed, chopper place, and then he came back and worked a stutter, chopper place. So again, show speed, run power. Show power, run speed. Like make that your pass rush move. It's not just, hey, I'm going to work this move. Your pass rush plan needs to be alignment and the tempo which I'm attacking that move with. All right, so again, showing vertical. Showing great speed right here, going back to the chopper place, right? So he's showing some speed. Boom, there's your vertical. There's your stutter. Watch what that stutter does. Bam, as soon as he shows that stutter, what does that tackle do? Puts all that weight up front. Bam, perfect job throwing that chopper place. This is a great job. Bam, excellent, chopper place. Boom, sack strip, end of the game. Right there, he had interception of that game too. National Player of the Week. Really proud of him. Okay. Now, we talked about it earlier, right? We said a push them by, spin them by, power through. Okay, so here's an example right here. And again, you got to work this in practice. Yeah, be an offensive tackle on the set. This is like a 2-minute drill, I think, right here. All right, you can see both the ends right here working a spin by. They get back up to quarterback level. Bam, work the spin by. And then you can see 47 on the right-hand side as we're looking at it. He's a little too wide in his alignment. He's working a push him by right here. It's hard to see, but it's a really nice-looking Reggie. The push him by is just a simple hump. This is a Reggie. And when you throw that Reggie, you got to plant that outside foot, push that inside arm. You got to work it, work it, work it. Keep it simple. All right, we got a couple more clips here, Coach. All right, so again, emphasizing the cross chop. And we do this at the Pass Rush Academy every day, right? So we work it. We'll step into it, step into it, step into it, go. Like you just work it every day. So now he's attacking like he's running a blitz. This was the deception, right? So we're showing deception. We're showing 2 off the edge. We're showing 2 off the edge right here. 1, 2. What's going to happen? He's going to be here. Okay. Bam. And there's your cross chop. Again, didn't get the sack, but he's affecting the quarterback. And you put these things on tape and you get this practice and you bank these reps every freaking day in the course of the game. Ooh, I'm going to come back to that. That worked. When you need to use it, you got to pull it out and use it. All right, cross chop again. And again, he's working at a tilt now. He's an edge. He's edge about 1.5 yards. Boom, boom. It's hard to see, but that was a chopper place right there with assuming a cross chop with a replace. And we didn't really cover twist games too much. I saw this one. I wanted to put it in here. I know we're all over the place, guys. So understanding when we're working twist games, all right, understand who the penetrator is and who the looper. The looper needs to make the twist game work. All right, I want to emphasize this. When you're working it versus the pass, a lot of times guys are way too quick. They're way too quick as the looper to get back inside. Like you got to sell speed first. All right, you got to sell speed first. I like a ratio about 70-30, 65 35, whatever percent of twist games and straight rush. Like I want more straight rush than I want twist games. But you can see a really good job of both of these guys working vertical up the field, really setting this thing up so where the D tackles, they have contained through the B gap. They CTB in it. And both 47 and 8 do a great job of getting up inside there and making that play. Who that quarterback is now the highest paid quarterback in the country. Future millionaire. He's a millionaire now, so there's no future. And again, going back to it, so this is just some more drill stuff. Again, working our takeoffs with the tilt, right? So working your edge, working your wide, working your head, whatever alignments you guys typically show in games, work those alignments. Give them a straight rush, give them a tilt rush, work a stutter. It's the same stuff over and over and over again. Again, here's your chopper place with Edge Academy. Chopper place, both sides. This is out of a tilt. That's just torque, sorry. Here's your club, which we saw on tape. So all this stuff, it presents itself on film, and it just rep after rep after rep after rep after rep. Like, do it until they don't want to do it no more, and then do it again, because that's just the way you have to be. Pass rushing is patience, fellas. And in order to be a great pass rusher, you got to be a great bull rusher. You got to show power. Keep it simple. But, man, I'm going to tell you, you got to have a lot of patience when it comes to sacks and getting pressure on the quarterback. You got to have patience. You can't think, I'm going to get there every time. It's great to want to, but the idea of getting there every time is unrealistic. Because you really look at the pass rush, you look at the opportunity you actually have. True drop back pass, like very few in a game. Hey, your offense has to be up. You got to be great against the run. Get them in 3rd and 6 or more, or whenever that offensive coordinator, hits the switch. So it's a team effort. Like I always told this too, is like pass, like defending, like the true definition of a team game is against the pass. Like that's team defense, because it takes everybody in order to rush that quarterback, not just you. And there's a lot that goes into it. So I hope that stuff helped. I know I went through 1,000,000 miles an hour. I appreciate everybody paying attention and got something out of it. And again, if PJ Coach, if anybody needs my number, I'm on Twitter at Coach Cab, my phone number. I'll give you my personal cell. Anything you guys need, I'm here for you. And would love for you guys to come out to Charlotte, come check us out. I think we're going to be doing some really big things in the American Conference. Really excited about our future.
Coach, that was awesome. I think like anything, and you go to a clinic, you want to come out with at least one thing. I think guys that'll watch this will come out with at least 7, 8, 9, maybe even 10 things. So that was really good stuff. And
thanks, man.
Yeah, appreciate you taking the time. And I will give you a text tomorrow. Hopefully via these TSA shenanigans, I'll be not standing in a line at the airport for too long. All good, man. Yeah, I appreciate you. And then I'll send you our spring schedule. Hopefully get you guys down to Naples this spring.
Need to.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, brother. Thanks, guys. Appreciate you, Coach. See ya.